Hello everyone, welcome to the Evil Empire. I'm your host, Evil Empire, and this week's feature is Red Black Death Shadow. So we have a Lurrus deck that is featuring the standard complement of 4 Death Shadow, 4 Scourge of the Skyclave. It's important to remember that these 2 cards work a little bit differently. Scourge of the Skyclave keys off of whatever player has the highest life total, which is a little bit tricky to remember whether it's highest or lower sometimes. But just keep in mind that can be the opponent, it can be you. And that's going to be how this one works. And then Death Shadow works only off of your own life total, and you have to be less than 13 life to be able to play Death Shadow and have it live on the battlefield. So that's kind of the core of the deck. We're really just hoping to get one of those 8 cards. You know, one of the 4 Death Shadow, one of the 4 Scourge at some point during the game. One card that really does a good job of helping to draw us into that, it's really the only card draw in the deck, is Stormfist Crusader. I find that when this card comes down and I'm drawing an extra card at the beginning of each upkeep and losing 1 life, that card really works as kind of a good draw engine for the deck, even though the opponent is also getting the extra card. The idea is that they won't live long enough. The opponent won't live long enough to be able to use that extra card. So that's kind of where we've been at with Death Shadow. I know that there's also been a version out there, a black-white version that features the 4 mana card. I think it's called Ranger of Eos, that lets you search up for a couple of 1 mana creatures, so you can go get a couple of Death Shadow. You can go get a 1 mana creature of your desire. And that really wasn't something I was trying to go with this deck. The black-white version has been very successful for a lot of people, and I'm sure it's very good. I just didn't think that was the particular one that I wanted to build here. Although that is another way you can build Death Shadow in Historic. It's pretty impressive that you can build it 2 different ways. It's such a versatile card in that way. And then, so looking at kind of the rest of this deck, the idea is to pay life as much as possible, to pay yourself down to a point where Scourge of the Skyclaves or Death Shadow will be huge. You know, your ideal is to like win on only 1 life. You know, if you could do that, that would be perfect. So you have cards to pay down life. So things like Feed the Swarm. Obviously, I mentioned Stormfist Crusader, but Thoughtseize lets you lose a couple life. There's some other ones in here, like a bunch of your lands let you pay life. So in the mana base, we have this Shatter Skull Smashing as a 4 of, Agadeems as a 4 of, and that's another great way to kind of pay down your life total. Pay 3 to put that in untapped. The Immersturm Skull Cairn was something I didn't really think much about, but if you think about it, being able to pay essentially the same mana cost as Ramunap Ruins and deal not just 2 but 3 damage to your opponent. Granted, this one comes in tapped, so it does have that downside, so we're only running 2 of them. But the rest of the mana base is pretty standard. Blood Crypt, you can pay a couple life to put that in untapped as well. Blight Step, Seer Step. We have the 2 Ramunap Ruins, 4 Ifnir Deadlands, and these 2, the Deadlands and the Ruins, are both going to let us pay a little bit of life, 1 life, to be able to make color mana of their particular colors. So a couple extra ways to pay life and pay down your life total, trying to get yourself into a good position. And then the great finishing card that I've actually really found to be very useful and an excellent finisher in the deck is Kazul's Fury. So the downside is pretty minimal, right? Like, it's at worst, it's a land in your deck, which you're going to play a land anyway. So the fact that it also can be your finisher, it can throw a gigantic Death Shadow, it can throw a gigantic Scourge at the opponent's face, is a great way to close out the game, and I found that to be another really useful thing. Rounding out the suite of spells, we have Bargain, which is something that'll give attacking non-human creatures trample. That really is the reason that it's in here. It's not really a good combat trick. It's just, it doesn't even cycle, doesn't replace itself. But it's just in there to give Death Shadow trample in case the opponent has a blocker. And then we have Bloodchief's Thirst as a bit of removal, bit of interaction. Could kick this to get any creature, or you can kick it to get any planeswalker. So pretty versatile card, and that's nice. And then we have, of course, Luris, in case we need to fall back on that, start playing Death Shadow, start playing other cards out of our graveyard. So that is the deck. That is Red Black Death Shadow. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're now going to move to some games of Historic Ranked. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so that's a keep, and we're going to probably lead on this pathway. Could also just lead on the Ruins, and I think Ruins is probably best here. If I lead on the Ruins, I can leave up Shock. Alright, so Ruins pass. See what they do. Alright, so white mana, the life gain deck? Yeah, Soul Warden. Alright, so kill it with fire. Shock that away. Just pay the 3 life for the Agadeems, because gonna want that to be paid down eventually. Pay a little bit more for Dreadhorde Butcher. Alright, so what's opponent's 2-drop? Let's see, I hope it's not the Bishop. Nope, it's the Valkyrie. Okay, that's better. Better for me. Alright, so let's see. Maybe the Crusader, because Dreadhorde Butcher just gets blocked by the Valkyrie. Yeah, I'll settle on the Crusader. No point in attacking, really. Need more red mana. Opponent trying to figure out what their 2 or 3 drop is going to be for this turn. Alright, so land, pay for it. Alright. Resplendent Angel. Put a counter on the Valkyrie. Valkyrie is by far the weakest card in this deck. Just like, oh, put a counter on it. Alright, draw a couple cards. 1 off the Crusader, 1 for the turn. I think it might be time to play out the Butcher here, because we can barge in on it. Attack with everything. See what the opponent does. How the opponent blocks. Okay, opponent wants to block that way. I don't know that it's very good to play the barge in at all, even. I'm just going to leave it in hand, I think. Or maybe... No, I don't think it's right to use it here. Just save it for maybe for Death Shadow for later. Alright, so the little Butcher dies. Big Butcher gets a counter. Put the opponent to 10 life. Pay for the Blood Crypt, maybe. And then Death Shadow as a 2/2. Alright. Get to draw an extra card off the Crusader as well. Alright, so it looks like opponent has Collected Company. Okay, my Death Shadow now becomes a 7/7. Make that an 8/8. Alright, well, I'm definitely winning now. I have Barge in, I have a huge Death Shadow. Really, the only thing that could be bad is if they hit the Apparition off the Coco, yeah. So, no Apparition one time. No Apparition one time, okay. Gain a couple because Angel of Vitality makes it so that the Soul Warden trigger gains an extra life. Attack with everything. They block. It doesn't matter because Bargain is a card. And that'll do it, I think. Can always finish him off with Shock, but I don't think I need to. Yeah, no, I didn't. And that's game. First notch. Alright, so this hand looks fine. Has a 1-drop, a 2-drop. The 1-drop here being Thoughtseize, obviously, not the Death Shadow. And we can pay down life with all the lands that we have, so should be good. Green mana, elf. So elves, mono green elves. Well, we'll see here. Okay, Gruul. Take the Bone Crushy, so it can't get rid of my Dreadhorde Butcher. Red mana, Burning Tree. Hey, are you going to Burning Man? Voltaic Brawler must have been the draw for turn. Fair enough. Alright. So another Thoughtseize is the draw. Dreadhorde Butcher is the play. Pay the life for the Blood Crypt, although it's a little scary. But Dreadhorde Butcher is good here because it can trade with either of their 2-drops here. See which one they choose to trade with us. I think opponent should do... Yeah, no. The opponent should have done the Burning Tree here because the Voltaic Brawler represents 4 damage and the Burning Tree only 2. So if you're going to make that trade, it should definitely be VTE instead of the Voltaic Brawler. So let's see how opponent comes at us now. Draw for turn was Khazandu Mammoth. And just hit for the 2 only. Okay, that's pretty weak. Death Shadow as a 2/2. Thoughtseize is going to make it a little bit bigger. We'll trade the Thoughtseize with the Zerta. And then Immersturm, Skelkarn. Alright, I got a 4/4. What do you got? Opponent is holding 1 card that they drew for turn. Was it a land? Maybe it was a land. Make Khazandu Mammoth big. If it was a land, that could be good. Khazandu Mammoth would outsize me if that was a land. Opponent holding it. Arnie slays the troll. Jeez, you'd be better off with Dahmer's Ambush here. Man, people get addicted to that extra value. How about just getting it done on the front end? Yeah. Looking a little weak. Now you get to attack for 3. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, opponent's not even going to attack for 3. Alright, drew the removal. Sometimes you have it. So, Bloodchief's Thirst on the BTE, and then Feed the Swarm on the Elves. That'll put me to 6, make the Death Shadow a 7/7. Crash in with that. And opponent's at 13. They don't have a creature, so that feels bad for them. Only 1 green mana feels bad too. They have like Khazandu Mammoth. They have probably have some other stuff that also wants to have double green. Yeah, makes sense. They're in a tough spot there. Yeah, this seems fine. Blood Crypt makes any hand keepable because it's an amazing card in this deck. Deck is very hungry for both colors of mana, predominantly a black deck, but still. Alright, so the Immersturm tapped, Thoughtseize you. Elves take Coco. Hope they never get it with enough mana for the... Just hope that they can never cast the Crater Hoof. That is just too big to cast. Alright, so we're hoping to get the War Master, hoping that they play that. Yep, predictable, right? They want to sequence it. So, pay life for this. Down to 13. Kill with Bloodchief's Thirst, the War Master. Then Dreadhorde to put a counter on it so it can attack through any 2/2 that they might play. And then double Death Shadow at some point next turn. Assuming that I can get my life total down by 1 point, which might be tough. Alright, so 3 mana for the opponent, and they are going to play the Clan Caller. Oh. Okay. If you say so. I mean, they know the other 2 cards in their hand, we don't. Alright, yeah, this is probably going to be a mull. The land is weird, we don't have a red. Okay, it's a little too much land, but we can put a land back. So put back Immersturm Skullcairn. And yeah, this is fine. Scourge will get us there with Scourge. Scourge of the Skyclaves will carry the team on this one. The question is what land to play first. Either the Deadlands or the Blood Crypt. Probably just pay the 2 life for the Blood Crypt off the top. But it's tempting. Sorry, it's tempting to do the Deadlands and just, pay 1 for our black for the next couple turns. But I think just as much life as you can pay straight off the gate is probably best. So yeah, just Blood Crypt untapped for the night, and then that'll be fine. Boy, opponent really taking their sweet time on the Keeper Mull. Alright, yeah, so keep the 6, put back Immersturm. Pay the life for the Blood Crypt, because, just get it going. And we're off to the races here. Let's see if opponent is the type of deck that would want to race us. Green mana. So play if near Deadlands, attack. Play Stormfist Crusader to get some card draw going. Okay, 2 mana for opponent. Paradise Druid. Okay. What do we have here? Just all attack. And then probably play out the Scourge and be happy that we drew Kazul's Fury this turn, because that's a sweet card right now. Yep, the counter for the night feels good. And Scourge has a 4/4. Collected on their turn. Okay, War Master and Llanowar. Shock is good. Shock is very good. So attack here. Or sorry, shock here and then attack all. Oh, no blocks. Oh, you're done. That's all. That is all. So, target the opponent, sacrifice the Scourge, deal 9 to the face, and that's game. See you later, elves. Faster than elves here. Nice. Elves one of the fastest decks in the format, really. Yeah. I think I can keep it. I think it's okay to keep, and I'm gonna play out one of the Kazul's Fury as a land. Because I don't need 2 of them, I just need 1. Alright, so play this out for the red source. Fine. Don't have a 1-drop anyway. And opponent on 2 but doesn't do anything? Alright, whatever, just Dreadhorde them. Dreadhorde Butcher coming in hot. Gets the counter, then passes. Alright, so opponent some kind of Boros nonsense. Another Cliff Top. What's the play? You gonna let us in on your secret there, opponent? Nope. Keeping it close. Keeping it close. Alright, then that's gonna be a Ramanop Ruins for me. Attack with the Butcher. Put a counter on it. I think I'd like to pay the life here for the... Well, get the Storm Fist down. Get that down for sure. And then... maybe pay the life... Yeah, just let me just manually pay the life for each of these ones, because might as well. And I'll just hang on to this in case I want to remove some stuff. Hang on to the Shatter Skull Smashings in case I can use them as removal spells. Because I don't think I'm going to need a lot of mana here. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, Thoughtseize is good, but I only have 1 black mana. But I really have to Thoughtseize. Sorry, Scourge. You're not that big right now anyway. Oh, this is that weird combo deck with Brash Taunter. Alright, take the Brash Taunter. Yeah, you take that combo piece, then they really have nothing they can do. Just gonna go ahead and pay life for this, and then buy Luris. I might as well just use my mana. Alright, so opponent plays a Temple of Triumph, scries to the bottom, passes the turn quite sadly. Alright, this is where Scourge the Skyclaves can shine, because now neither Storm's Wrath nor Deafening Clarion can hit it, and they don't have the mana to play both in one turn. So, unless they draw a Wrath that somehow deals enough damage, yeah, might as well just pay down like they have no clock, so just keep paying it down so Death Shadow gets big. Alright, so now they do have the castle activation up. Okay, Shock was the perfect draw here. Take out their blocker. Yeah, that's fine. That can resolve, but it's not going to do anything. Yep. And then... right, yeah, of course. Gets big enough so I can just Cuzzel's Fury them to death. Alright. So that's the win. Target them, sack the Scourge. And that's the 5th notch on this tier of Platinum 4. Alright, so we're going for Platinum 3 in the next one. Yeah, this seems fine. I have the black, I have the red. 3 mana is fine. Put the Knight down on 1, the Stormfist Crusader or the Butcher, depending what's good on 2. Alright, looks like we're playing Mono Red Snow. Is this some kind of aggro build? No. Okay, Mindstone says ramp deck. Pay the life here, down to 16. Dreadhorde Butcher feels really good to clock them. They lose 2 life, put a counter on Dreadhorde. Wait, how did they lose 4? Weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it's just the way that Knight works. Opponent has a Solemn. Alright, I can feed the Swarm that. So, feed the Swarm, go to 11. Down to 10 because I had to pay life for the black. Sure. Attack them. Opponent to 14. Counter on the Butcher. Pay life for Awakening. Or whatever, the Undercrypt. Pay life for the Undercrypt. Death Shadow is a 6/6 and counter on the Knight. What do you got, opponent? What do you got, opponent? All the mana. 6 of the mana. Bone Crush my face. Bone Crush it out. That's it? It's not that much. You know, we can just kick this Bloodchief's Thirst and win. Look at how big this Death Shadow is getting. It's big. It's in 11/11. And that's game. So that is how I made it through the bottom rank of Platinum in the April 2021 season. Cool, good deal. Rank up. Alright. And I'm back. This was Red Black Shadow. It's been pretty impressive the way that this deck came out and stomped the competition in low platinum. This was a place where I had been stuck for the last, week and a half, and just couldn't really get out of the final game or two of that particular tier, or of the rank of platinum rank. And so it's nice to go on a bit of a run, a 6-0 run there, and just take out that bottom rank of platinum, get on a roll, maybe start working my way back up toward mythic. Hopefully gonna make back to mythic at some point this month. Pretty fun to play the deck. I find that it's really a lot faster than you might give it credit for. It can get Death Shadow, it can get Scourge pretty huge pretty quickly, and that's what you want to do. You want to have them be huge by like turn 4, turn 5, to the point where you might even be able to finish the opponent off with a Cuzzel's Fury or with some huge attack. Giving Trample with Barge in is another great way to finish the job. So overall, I've been pretty impressed. I thought that it would be kind of difficult to pay down enough life in Historic, given that you don't have the sort of fetch land, shock land, pay 3 life total between those two cards, and also even have some modality like you just want to pay the 1 and let the shock land come in tapped. Like, that not existing in Historic was a little bit of a concern for me, but overall I found it really easy to pay down the life total to what I wanted it to be pretty low. And I think what really contributed to that was Shattered Skull Smashing, Agadeem's Awakening, if near Deadlands, Ramunap Ruins, and Blood Crypt. I mean, just you have a lot of ways to pay down your life total. It's not going to be a problem. So just overall, pretty sweet deck. I definitely recommend playing it on the ladder. I think it's very competitive. And given some of the things that we saw, other than Elves, which of course I play at least twice a week on the Historic feature, there were some pretty different, that we had that big red deck at the end. There were some different sorts of decks out there, so can definitely punish those dirtily sorts of decks that want to just ramp up. And with looking at kind of how the Historic results are shaking out in the League weekend, seems like the metagame for the MPL, for Rivals in Historic, their particular deck of choice, it seems, this week, other than Jund, which of course continues to boss the format, was Sultai Ultimatum. So if you are seeing an uptick in the ladder of people playing Sultai Ultimatum because it had a good showing, a lot of people bringing it out for League weekend, MPL Rivals, then a good choice might be a red-black aggro deck like this that's just trying to get the opponent as dead as possible, as quick as possible. So just leave them with all those cards in their hand from the Stormfist Crusader. Just, let them do whatever they want. But ultimately, they're not going to be able to take you down quickly enough. They can't ramp quickly enough to be able to catch this deck very consistently. So definitely, if you see an uptick in ramp decks and you're feeling like you might be able to get under them, with something like this, Red Black Shadow is a great choice. I definitely enjoyed playing it this week. So shout out to everybody who has been watching the video to this point. I really appreciate you. You are the super coolest ones. And we will see you next week. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. This is Evil Empire signing out.